Oh, yeah, we're here to just relax and release everything. Everything we think we know, everything we think we are. Feel like you can make yourself comfortable in a restful place in your mind, in your seat. And I have this one line in my mind just now coming in here before the gathering. The line is, the real miracle is the love that inspires the miracles. The real miracle is the love that inspires them. And that the preceding sentence to this is, miracles occur naturally as expressions of love. Miracles occur naturally as expressions of love. And the real miracle is the love that inspires them. So beautiful, this one love inspires the expressions of love, the miracles. And we know that miracles are natural. And if they don't happen, something is off track. Jesus is very clear about this. So if they don't occur, the mind is off somewhere, because they do occur, but the awareness may not be there. So that's what's off then. The mind has then separated itself off somewhere, somehow. And then the only focus, the only real interest should be, how can I get back on track? How can I get back to the openness to the miracles? Not any other preoccupation is of real worth than that. Where did I go off and how can I return? Yeah. And there is a great helper, capital H, helper for this process. That is all about this. Holy Spirit in the mind is all about the miracle and the experience of the miracle. So any other interest is of little or no worth, really, as a more like a delay or a postponing or distracting away from the miracle. So yeah, right now we can take a moment and look within our own mind. With a prayer. Holy Spirit, help me remove any obstacle to the experience of the miracle, the love. And you can only really see it if you let your mind relax a bit. So we allow our minds to become very still. Let all the busy thoughts rest for a moment. Rest a bit deeper. And let go again of any thoughts. You need to see the self-concept and be willing to let it go. Self-concept often comes with opinions, beliefs about what you are, your characteristics. But a way to let it go is to just go within to the feeling sense behind it. Find that feeling of the me, so to speak. And really give it away to Holy Spirit. This is not what sustains you. It's actually not alive. The only thing that lives is the source. That's where it gets its seeming life from. So the healing is to let go of that, come back to source. And be so willing to not know anything. To be so led from within, so guided from within, that you forget all about the little me. And when we have let go, we will start to feel peace and joy trickle in. All that's required is our willingness to let go of control. Earlier this morning, I took a walk and it had been raining, so I saw some snails. I saw snails, and they seemed to make their way out onto the road. And for a moment, I had the thought to save them, and the Holy Spirit said, "To what? Why would you lift them off the road and so that they wouldn't be crushed by a car?" And the Holy Spirit said, "To what? Are you gonna get out of the present moment and try to save something external for a life in time?" No, you don't need to do that. What do you know? How do you think you know where life is? There are leeches. Just looked it up. Those creatures who live on blood from others. And that's what the ego is like. That's what the imposter, the false self, lives on. The only power there is, God's power, the source of all living things. And the ego is not real, but it can seem very real or persistent. And as I looked up the creatures that live on other creatures, they are called parasites. We've heard about parasites. And there are different types of creatures that live on blood. And there is a bird called hood mockingbird. And Wanda talks about the ego is like a mockingbird that is totally disturbing and won't give up. And there's actually some bird called hood mockingbird that feeds on blood. So that's what the ego is. Thank God it's not real, but how persistent it can feel when it preoccupies your mind and complains and makes you feel guilty, attacking, defending, planning. Planning is a defense. Jesus says you probably don't think of planning as a defense against the truth, but it is. He says you can let go of planning. Some of my greatest experiences of miracles have happened when I didn't plan. Like this gift bestowed on me, on the situation. The ego wants to plan for its safety, for your safety. So that's not really inspired, but Holy Spirit inspired plans, they're okay. these are more like the plans that come in when you hand over your own planning, your own thinking. They're inspired. You need to empty the mind sufficiently to experience that. It's a real gift. So yeah, the Holy Spirit is very present. So does anyone want to share anything, lift up anything? Pete.
Hi, Jenny. So I feel fearful. I'm more fearful around you than nearly anybody. I guess you represent the light.
Even to take a breath with that fear, let that fully in, let it wash through. Sometimes I think the mind can feel like you call it like a messy, tassely kind of yarn.
Okay.
Like,
Yarn of wool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thread out and sort it out in a way.
Yeah.
Because so many threads and it's a mess. So yeah. Sometimes
Yeah.
just
It's exactly how it's felt.
mm.
You know, there's unworthiness sitting here and lack here, and it's all in the same place.
Mm.
Sometimes I experience more like from that dimension, other dimensions of it, but it's the same thing.
Yeah,
But
it
a
is
bit
the same.
clearer, getting a bit clearer, because this fear has been so strong, and I can see on occasion that it's not real. You know, I saw after I ended up being at a little event, I was sort of rescuing my friend somewhat. And as I walked away and I'd come home, I just saw that pretty much all my behaviors, all my actions were driven by this fear of separation or this fear of abandonment.
Yeah, we watched the movie Violet and we talked about operating almost constantly from fear of consequences. That's a hard way to live.
Yeah, tell me about
it. Yeah, and now is a very good time to end the pattern. Really now. If you say you're going to work on it or do it later, there's going to be more fear. But
yeah.
really, the present moment, to find the calmness of the present moment. Like, I'm not going to be motivated by fear right now. Even if it comes back later, I'm not going to even think about that right now. I'm not going to be motivated by fear. It's an experience and it's there, it's available. There is just some layers of concern or fear in the way.
I have an explanation as a victim why my life's been a failure. So at the worldly level, there's all these seeming reasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and maybe you can look at that too, like that, to be identified as a victim. Maybe you feel that doesn't get you a lot anymore.
No.
Yesterday, actually, we watched another movie called Whiplash. It's very strong about victimiser beliefs. Yeah, the guy takes charge. He decides he needs to follow his inspiration, and that's when he just plays and plays in this big concert, and where his teacher is trying to lead the orchestra, and he does not listen to him. The teacher even comes up to him and says, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he almost hits him, but actually that's the spirit in him releasing the victim role. And that brings the teacher, the reflection, it comes in a deep collaboration of minds. They merge minds, and the teacher is so happy and so with him, and he's so happy. It's an intense scene. It's really actually powerful. The whole movie is worth it, you know, just to see the last scene and to see the victim released and the victimizer released. And that's what you want, I feel. You're tired of relief.
I remember that film, sort of violence. I perceived it as this violence felt scary, but I remembering when you said they were joining, I remember that. And there was this love between them. I seem to remember the teacher still was screaming at him to now sort of thing. You've got to do it and keep doing it. Something.
Yeah, he kept saying, "Not my tempo." He said, "You're off the tempo that he wanted him to play," and he really revved up.
Right.
And the guy was more and more fearful and tried to get it right. And the more he tried, the more wrong it got, and hands are bleeding, and yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't be sharing now if I didn't. If I didn't want to be free. I can feel that.
I know.
Yeah.
And that's so beautiful. You know, if you hold on to something that, if you remember one thing, that would be it, you know, the light, the call to being free.
Yeah. And it seems to just throw up all the resistance, all these different elements. That's the thing. And that's okay. Okay, it's okay. I just feel more accepting around that.
Mhm. Yeah, because that's what happens when you say yes to the light. Yeah, the
Yeah.
resistance, whatever is not clear, will come up. But you can still hold on to the prayer of the light and, you know, just see those things and just neti, drop it, you know.
Yeah. I hear you.
And how do you feel now about the owner of the house coming?
Well, I met with him yesterday afternoon and it was.
Yeah, so this is good. It's a good opportunity because this world is not really safe and it's not really our home, and it is ever changing, always changing. That's why the home in mind, the home in God, the home in spirit, the home in freedom is the only safe place, you know.
I feel that I'm meditating more on the light now and just really choosing that's me. That is who I am. I got to a point with my mother where I never shared my joy with her, but always my suffering. Whether that is like a way of punishing her or something. Look, what you did. I don't know. I wasn't aware of all that then, but
Now, like you're still doing that or what? Because that sounds like the past.
yeah, but it just came into my mind then. It
Yeah,
is the past, yeah.
that's
Yeah,
the one way that the victim gets attention. Mhm. Gets
generally
what it
not.
wants.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I feel we're getting out of the woods.
Yeah, I feel for the moment positive. I need to really stop and really focus.
Yeah, the beautiful lesson, be still an instant and go home, you know, to allow that for moments, and then, yeah, then to see the blocks to that, the blocks to freedom, the blocks to love's awareness, and not focus on them, but see them.
Yeah.
Invite the light in to release it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Stay in that prayer. Yeah.
Yeah. Very much. I don't feel fearful of you this moment. I feel the love with you.
I love you too. No, I think that will be a miracle, that because the love inspires miracles. So we can stay expecting miracles. Yeah. And I saw Lena's hand. Want to share, Lena?
I used the Course in Miracles book as an oracle this morning. Yeah, the word teacher stood out.
Nice. The inner teacher is available, the inner teacher. And they can come through an outer seeming teacher as well. But the inner teacher is definitely available and accessible. I listened to you this morning as I was editing an older session that we had, and I think you were sharing, it was you when you had your previous dog, and you were walking, and there was a preschool or something with foreigners' children, and the little girl ran up and screamed and yelled at the dog. She was maybe afraid or angry at the dog, and the dog got afraid of her. And you were sharing about that, and I thought, now, yeah, in a sense, that situation is a teacher. The teacher wants to show you something that you disowned. Because you said you don't like kids, and in particular, foreign kids, or something like that. Yeah. So that's a lesson, or that's a teacher calling for right perception. Yeah, it's nice that you came across that word and that it stood out to you. That's the whole point of the Course in Miracles, is to find and follow the inner teacher. In all things. Or I like the attitude of going for it. I would try to scan my mind and see what is unhealed, and then invite, okay, what do I need to do to heal this? Yeah, so even if there's aversion to kids, or, but, to get a job in a preschool or something could be a very healing way of, temporary experience of healing something that has been avoided or something. I have a friend who wanted to face some beliefs, and he became a baby holder. He went to where babies are born, to the hospital, and he would hold small babies. Maybe they were even motherless, or the mother was sick or something, and there would be a way for him to get in touch with his emotions, and he felt it was so beautiful because he opened his heart. He felt so much love for the babies. It needed a warm, someone to hold them. Thank you. Yeah, we can allow the teacher to reach us through deep emotional places in us. Because one of the biggest defenses in the mind is to keep it together, try to keep it together in any way possible. But that together isn't together. And even think of our own mind as a vulnerable little baby that needs to be held. That openness to that place inside. I feel the message from Spirit today is you don't need to keep it together. You don't need to hold anything up. I feel it's a big message that can ring throughout the mind, throughout your day, throughout your days. Don't keep it together. Laurie.
I just had a strong reaction when you said about holding the babies. And I think that's what scares me. Like, it does feel like something just bubbles up, and it's not in my control.
Mm.
And, like, it sidetracks me as well, because I already had a feeling of what I wanted to share, so it's...
Yeah, we can get to that too, but it's okay to allow the feeling.
It's not calm, that's what I don't like. It's...
Just stay with it for a moment. Just maybe take a breath with it. Feel where you feel this feeling inside. It's an intense emotion that bubbled up.
Yeah, it is feeling unheld.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm. I think these are sort of memories of hurt where you can now heal, where you can invite the experience of being held. Even that small, young part that was not held or cared for. It is so held right now.
Yeah.
Love must hold it. Love can't but hold it. It's so held in the present. The past is healed in the present.
can feel the urge to want to talk about something else, you know.
Oh, maybe you're ready to move on. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to share my gratitude around sharing last time, because when you said about the self-doubt with the knee pain, it felt just resonated so much. And then yesterday, yeah, it was like the pain had reduced so much. And I wanted to share, I took her to an indoor climbing centre yesterday, and I kind of already knew, I just knew there was going to be a connection between the instructor and him.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, he came out, he's like, that guy was cool.
Oh,
Yeah. And we talked about the film Whiplash. So even that's one of Joe's favourite films.
oh.
Yeah, I think the main thing I wanted to share was I did the silent meditation on Thursday. And there's not much can go wrong in a 45-minute silent meditation. But I found things. So this addiction to, looking for how I'm wrong. And the shame, like intense shame, came up afterwards. When Peter was talking about being free, I thought, God, I would really love to be free. It feels almost like life or death, this feeling of, oh, like I've blown it now. It's so strong. I've really blown it now. That's it.
The ego is relentless. Oh.
It's like just, I can't even explain how intense it feels. Like I want to climb into a hole in the ground.
We translate that into the climbing you to go to. And you teach yourself, you teach your own mind. You can't go wrong. You can't, even the meditation, if the ego has complaints, just leave that behind and
Yeah. I wish I could have a big shift like that, because in my mind it's like, oh no, I've just got to put myself in these positions over and over and over so it can be healed. But maybe something can shift.
Yeah, it's always like this in the beginning. When you start to offer space for others, the ego will attack you. That's almost like you can almost count on it. That's how it's been for me anyway. And actually to still do it, but with that prayer to be gentle with yourself and to keep being gentle with yourself. Just the ego does that when you put yourself out there. But yeah, that's gonna wash away, and next time I think it will feel easier.
Yeah.
Because like you said, not much can go wrong. You're just offering a space for others to go within, and that's beautiful.
Yeah, it was the opening. Felt like it was rushed, kind of, even though there's no speaking, it's just more what's going on in me. This rushed feeling of.
And that's all there is for you to look at your mind, see what's on your mind, and to hand it over.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, the ego always has ideas that something should be different constantly. Very tiring. Do we have anything, Barrett? Anything else?
Just a reminder that for those who feel called to give, you can give at paypal.me/ACIM love. It's always appreciated.
Thank you all for joining in. We shall see you here and now in the present.